Welcome back to the Woods and Water Recon tutorial series. In this tutorial we're going to show you some of the more advanced items you can do on your hunting property maps. As you can see, we're already logged in and we're already in our hunting properties area of our profile, and we're going to go ahead and manage our property here. This is actually the property that we created in the previous tutorial of the hunting property basics. So we'll get this big, or hopefully you guys can see a little better. Zoom in a little bit. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn off our center point. That way we can just work with our property boundary. The first things I want to show you are some of the options in the context menu, which is when you right click on an item on the map here. So we'll right click. In the previous tutorial we showed you the save, and that's to actually save any changes that you make to your actual map. The lock unlock feature here, I'll show you that. On a polygon it brings your points back up. That way you can adjust any of those points, add new points, change the shape, and so on. And so we'll lock it back. The other thing you can do is delete, well, remove it from the map, so it will no longer be on there. So you can redraw the same one or whatever you would like to do there. On a free account, the delete will free up one of your data points. On a premium account you won't have that problem, as you'll have an unlimited number of data points that you can apply. The other feature in the context menu is the toggle draggable. So if we do that, now we can grab the entire polygon without changing its dimensions and move it around the map. We'll turn the drag back off, that way we can move the map again, as you can see. And you saw the info window pop up there. You left click, you'll get the info window. On the info windows, this name box, you can give it any name that you want. That is for your use only, to help you identify different areas, locations, stands, and so on. The view access options here are secondary to the view access on your hunting property or fishing location overall. So if you have your hunting property or fishing location set to private, changing this will not affect it, because others still won't be able to see it. Now, if you were to have your overall property set to friends or public, and then you had an item that you wanted only you to be able to see, you could set this to private, and it would actually hide it from your friends if they were to view your map. There is an exception to that, and that is if you grant someone collaboration access, which we will cover in another tutorial. They will be able to see everything regardless of the view access that you set. So when using collaboration, make sure that it's with somebody you can trust, because I know a lot of us are very particular about who knows where certain things are. If you make any changes to any of these, you will need to click this button here. And once you do that, you will also need to click the save again. Otherwise, this information will not get saved to the item that you have selected. The other thing to note on these layers here, property boundary, food plot, other food source, miscellaneous, they will tell you an approximate acreage in the info window. That can be very beneficial, especially when trying to do food plot management. So we made sure that we added that in there. So one of the things we'll do here now is we'll show you some of the other items and some of the differences in those items that you'll be able to see, and some other things you can do. First thing we're going to do is we're going to do a new layer. We're actually going to add a food plot here. Now the way we've designed this is food plots are places that you're planning, that you have control over. And I'm actually going to do a triangle here just to show you some different shapes that you can draw. So we've turned off our editing, and we're going to lock this in place. So now we've added a food plot to our map. And this food plot, you can see now here's our info window for it. We'll just give it a name, again, anything that you want. Choose what view access you want. Remember, the view access of the property, if it's private, these won't make a difference. How many acres we have, approximate number there. And with food plots, what you can do is you can actually define the crop that you have planted in this food plot. Now we have provided some predefined crops, and I'll show you those. You can see here, since I'm in that menu, you can see we've got some predefined crops here, and you can view more, and view more, so on, so on. And this is an auto suggest box, so if we did something like alfalfa or something else, you can see it filters out some of the predefined items. The other thing you can do is you can enter your own. So let's say we did turnips. You can see there's no matches, but that's okay, because we can define our own crop there. So now we'll save that, and we'll right click and make sure we save it to the map itself. And as you can see down here, it was successfully added. You can also see here our data points have increased. We're now using 2 of 5. I'm going to show you some of the other layers, but I'm not going to save them to the map since we're on a free account. But I'll show you some of the purposes that we thought of for them anyway. First thing we'll look at is this other food source. So John has a neighbor here, we'll call him Jim, and he's got this field. So what we'll do is we'll call it, we want to outline this field because he's got it planted in corn, and we all know what that does. So we've got this other food source here. As you can see, our type is an other food source. We could just, call this Jim's corn. We know roughly how big it is. We could say he's got corn in there. So, and of course, you'd go through the process, you'd save, and then you could save it again. So the purpose of the other food source would be food sources that you know of that are surrounding your property, but yet you can't control what gets planted there, and even in some cases you may not even be able to have permission to go over there onto that property. So as you can see right now, our data point count is at 3 of 5. So I'm going to show you the last layer, and then we'll remove a couple of these to free up some data points. Our last layer is miscellaneous. This you could essentially use to define anything. So what we'll do is we'll say we have a lake here. We'll just draw a rough circle, or pond, or some other water source. So there's our water source. even though we may not know that that's what that is. So we'll left click on it, and we'll say this is pond. Could set our view access, and this type of miscellaneous, so we would definitely want to give it a name to be a little bit more descriptive as to what that polygon actually is. And of course you save the details, and we can lock it in place. That way we can't move it. So now you can see we're up to 4 or 5 here. So what we'll do is, to continue the tutorial, we'll get rid of our little pond here. We'll just delete it. And we'll get rid of our other food source here. We'll just delete it too. So now we'll show you some of the markers here. As you can see, we've already got a center point set, so we can't add another one. So that item we can't select. So what we'll do here is we'll add one of each of these markers here to the map. So we'll do a game camera, and let's say we've got one right on the edge of this food plot here. Alright, and then we'll do a ground blind. And let's say we've got a ground blind. Let's put it right in the middle of the food plot. Alright, and then the last one will be a tree stand. And let's say we've got a tree stand over here in this corner. Alright, now as you can see, we've reached our maximum number of points. You can see here 5 of 5. So we can no longer add layers. We can no longer add markers, because we've reached our maximum. So to add more, we would have to get rid of something. But to continue the tutorial, we'll show you a little bit with these markers here. So we'll left click there. We could give this tree stand a name, anything you want. On these markers, they'll tell you an approximate position, latitude, longitude, and decimal format. And the other thing we can do here is we can assign one of our equipment items from our equipment page, which we have covered in a previous tutorial. So in our equipment page, we have already said we have this nice tree stand here. So we're going to put that tree stand right there on that location. And so we'll save it. And then of course we want to save it to our map, so we're going to save it. And as you can see, success. And so now you can see when you click, it's got everything saved there. You can see, but we can still move this around. That's because we haven't locked it. So let's say we needed to change this point here. It's down here instead. So we just drop it down there. And so we'll right click and we'll lock that. And see, now we can't move it around. The toggle drag does not use on markers. Toggle drag is only for your layer drawings. So if you want to move a marker, you'll have to do the lock unlock. Alright, so we've set our tree stand up there. Now we'll do our ground blind. Again, we can give it a name. Approximate location. Also, again, from our equipment page. Save it. Save it. It's been saved to the map now. And we'll do our camera. Again, we can give it a name. Equipment. Save it. And save it again. And now that the camera has been saved, you'll notice that the info window has changed just a little bit. So we'll show it up again. And now you can see you have a Manage Pictures button. And this will allow you to actually upload pictures for that particular camera. So we'll do that real quick. opens up a little window here. You can see it tells you this is where it's gonna tag your pictures at. This number should not be the same as where the camera actually is. What we try to do is pick the closest city to your particular point, and the reason we do that is if you decide to share a photo on the trophy map, it will use this location. So we'll upload a couple of pictures here. So we're going to upload 2 pictures there. And now these have just been temporarily uploaded. You can see they have the green light beside them, so they're ready. So now we can click this upload image button, and now you can see we have images in our little gallery down here. You can just left click an image and you get a bigger version, and you'll be able to scroll through them. The other thing you can do is, if you mouse over it, you can see this show on trophy map checkbox, and also this red X, and that is your delete button. Show on trophy map, all you have to do is just check the box, and now this picture will show up on the very front page of the Woods and Water Recon site as a trophy. And this one will just show you can delete here, and it's removed it. So once you're finished doing that, you can just close this window here. It'll take us back to our camera. And that will conclude all of the features, all of the advanced features of the mapping on the site. And just as a last note, just a reminder, is you can use your toggle overlays here. You can see we can get rid of our food plots, get rid of our cameras and our stands. We only want to work with ground blinds. So we hope that you find that useful, and as always, we're continuously trying to improve on this, and we will see you in the next tutorial.